Most people are still sleeping through it. What you are watching unfold in real time right now, in May 2026, is a regional skirmish, not flare-up that's you news are watching, is a fundamental restructuring of the global oil order, a collapse of the institutions that have governed energy markets for over 50 years, and a military and economic confrontation whose consequences are going to reach directly into your wallet, your grocery cart, and the future your children will inherit. And the people who should be explaining this to you, clearly, honestly, without the corporate media fog, are mostly still telling you that gas prices are a little high for a while. That phrase, by the way, came directly from Donald Trump's mouth. And we are going to spend the next several minutes unpacking why that may be the most dangerously misleading sentence by any American president in this young century. Let's start from the beginning, because context is everything here. On February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel launched coordinated airstrikes on Iran under Operation Epic Fury, targeting military facilities, nuclear sites, and leadership, and the operation resulted in the death of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. Think about what that sentence means. The most powerful theocratic leader in the Islamic world, a man who had governed Iran for 3 days, was assassinated by American and Israeli military action. This was not a small thing. This was a signal shock to the Iranian system. And the world's response, the market response, the geopolitical response, the human response, been cascading ever since. Launched missile and drone attacks on Israel, U.S. military bases, and U.S. allied Gulf states. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps issued warnings forbidding the Strait of Hormuz, boarded and attacked merchant ships, and laid sea mines in the strait. And just to make sure you understand the scale of what the Strait of Hormuz represents, this is not some obscure waterway. Until the US-Israeli war against Iran, roughly 25% of the world's oil trade and 20% of the world's natural gas every single day. 4 barrels of seaborne oil gone, locked, mined, and that is when the real crisis began. Now, here's where things get interesting and where most of the mainstream coverage is failure. Because while everyone spoke on military theater, the airstrikes, the missile exchanges, the dramatic news about Khamenei's death, a much quieter and in many ways more consequential battle in the economic and energy domain. And that battle has now burst into the open, with the UAE walk away from OPEC entirely. The United Arab Emirates announced its decision to quit OPEC Plus to focus on national dealing a heavy blow to the oil exporting group at a time when the US-Israel war on Iran has a historic energy shock and rattled the global economy. The UAE said, and I want you to really sit with this language, that the time had come to focus our efforts on what our national, that is diplomatic language 4, we are done being bound by a cartel that has been fire and drones at our infrastructure for the past 2 months. Because that is exactly has been Shah, UAE, operations were suspended after an Iranian attack on March 16th caused a fire at the massive natural gas field. The Ruwais refinery, one of the biggest refineries in the world, by falling debris from air defense interception. Sustained significant damage at Khalifa Port Industrial Zone following Iranian attacks. The UAE has been hit by a fellow OPEC member, and under the old rules of the organization, it will sit inside the same framework as the country doing the hitting. The absurdity of that arrangement finally became too much to sustain. The UAE wants to be unconstrained by any production quotas when the strait reopens. Its new normal, maybe a dysfunctional OPEC without one of its most important shock absorbers. This is the key sentence people are glossing over. The UAE is not just protest. It is positioning itself for the post-war. When this strait opens back up, we intend to pump as much as we want, as fast as we we want, and we will not be asking anyone's permission. The UAE has 4.8 million barrels per day of capacity and produce more. Right now it is pumping significantly less than that because of the war disruption. But the Americans allow. Abu Dhabi intends to become the dominant swing in the Gulf. Unconstrained by Riyadh's preferences or Vienna's quotas, Trump welcomed the announced withdrawal of the United Arab Emirates from OPEC, saying, "I think it's great." And this is where we need to be about what Trump actually understands and what. Because on the surface, the UAE leaving OPEC looks like a win for Trump's long-standing position that OPEC is a cartel. It's American military protection to keep prices artificially high. Trump had linked U.S. military support for the Gulf with oil prices, saying that while the U.S. defends OPEC members, they exploit this by imposing high oil prices. So in Trump's narrative, UAE is now aligning with American interests. And there is a certain logic to that framing. But here is the deeper reality. Brent crude oil prices surpassed $100 per barrel on March 8, 2026 for the first 4 years, rising to $126 per barrel at its peak. The largest ever monthly increase in price